Life's luxuries and broken curses.
On this episode of Simply Necessary Conversations.
So first up for trending topics, I saw when I was on Instagram earlier today that apparently Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift have reportedly spent a whopping $27 million on their relationship. $27 million.
$27 million.
Because he's in the NFL, she's traveling, and they're having to spend that much money on like her private jet and stuff back and forth so they can spend time together. Because they live two completely different lifestyles kind of and are in two completely different areas, which have made me think of how they kind of have the luxury to be able to afford to do that and make their relationship work.
No, I almost feel like that's sinful to spend that kind of money when people don't have food and stuff.
But I feel like anybody that could do that for the person that they love probably would.
I have never been rich. I've never been poor, but I've never been rich. I don't know if my conscience wouldn't bother me to spend $27 million on luxury when there's people literally that don't have basic necessities.
I don't know. I feel like it's complicated.
It is very complicated.
Because at the same time that, there's people that are suffering or whatever, she made her money.
She did.
That's her money.
And I will confess, I don't give to charity and do charitable things as much as I could afford to do. I will confess that. But I've never had that much excess money. Now, do I have extra money? Yeah, but that much extra money, I don't know. I would feel guilty to spend that much money on just luxury items. Or I don't know.
I feel like it would be hard on their relationship to be so, she probably is in other countries, we're not talking about long distance of a couple hours drive, a long distance of, it's like a 40-minute drive or whatever. We're talking, she could be in Tokyo and he could be in Kansas.
And I'm going to say, and I know the Swifties are going to hate me for saying it, and I'm not even still convinced that he's worth her effort. I'm going to just say it that way. Not that he's a bad guy or a bad person. I just feel like if she were not, this is kind of silly to say, but maybe people will get it. If she were not Taylor Swift, I don't think he'd be attracted to her. And I don't feel like she's his type. And I don't feel like, I just feel like he's attracted to her almost like a fan would be because it's Taylor Swift. Like if he were they were regular people in a bar and she was, across the room, I don't think he would approach her.
I feel like also having so much money forces or doesn't give them the opportunity to have to go through the hardship that normal people in relationships go through that I feel like is a part of a healthy relationship and makes your relationship stronger.
I think he's enamored with the fact that she's Taylor Swift. And no shade to him, no shade to her, because she's a girl. And he's not bad to look at. And if he were, coming on to me wanting to date me, would I? Of course I would. So I'm not shading her. I'm still waiting to see.
And I feel like their relationship is still super new to have spent $27 million.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to see where it goes. And I wonder too,
not to be in their business, but I wonder too how the breakdown, how much of the $27 million did he spend and how much of the $27 million? Because I know she's the one that has the private jet. I don't think Travis Kelce can afford a private
Probably
jet.
Probably not. Because he's a good player, but is he one of the
according to my
players?
sources being my boyfriend because I don't know about sports. Mm-hmm. According to my sources, he was already a star player in the NFL.
Well, yeah, he was already known, but does he make Taylor Swift money?
Nobody makes Taylor Swift money.
See.
So
anyway, the luxury part of it, if they can afford it, it's their money. They earned it. I guess they can spend it how they want to, but I just feel like it's a little bit, But then some people might say, well, I go get nails done or I buy too many clothes because I do. I don't know.
Well, speaking of the luxury element of their relationship, what do you think are some luxuries that people don't necessarily consider to be luxuries, but they're luxuries, if that makes sense?
This is going to sound crazy, but healthcare. A lot of people don't realize, people that do have been gainfully employed, that have come up in, middle class, upper middle class families, rich families, we take healthcare for granted. It's not until you talk to somebody that, is complaining about a toothache or something, and then you ask, why don't you go to the dentist? And they're like, because it's expensive, because they don't have insurance. And I explain that to my students all the time. the more money you have or the better employed you are, the less things cost you when it comes to some of the important things. Like if you got a job and you got healthcare insurance, you pay way less than somebody that's just walking off the street going in and paying cash.
Yeah.
So healthcare is definitely, to me, it shouldn't be, and even with Obamacare and all of that, healthcare is a luxury that a lot of people that have it take for granted, because everybody doesn't have the luxury of, I don't feel good, let me go, let me just go get checked out to make sure I'm fine. Like a lot of people can't do that.
I think another luxury that people take for granted is not, and the word choice is important here, having an active 2-parent household.
Yeah.
A lot of people either don't have 2 parents in the home, they don't have no parents, they have 1 parent, whatever.
Yeah.
Or they have 1 parent that might be involved, other parent that's not so involved, or 1 parent that has to provide all the financial stability, 1 parent that can't provide. I think it's a luxury to have 2 parents that are both willing to put in the work in all aspects of the household.
And I will even go on to say having them physically in the household does make a difference, because some people want to argue, well, as long as they're 2 involved parents, even if they're living apart.
Then we get
we got shaded on one of our other episodes because we talked about that, but it is not the same. I don't care when. There's nothing like, as a mother, being able to say, especially when you got young kids, I'm gonna run in and take a shower, watch the kids.
Yeah.
There's nothing like being able to say, okay, one of us needs to take the day off because our child has some activity. So like, who has the most sick days, or who can afford to take the day off, to go and do the things. So having a 2-parent household is getting to the point where it is very rare in a lot of situations. And that is definitely a luxury, because you can balance out the parenting. Like you have an in-house assist. Having 2 parents that live separate, they may love you, they may want to be involved, whatever, but having in-house assistance,
I would even say being in a relationship is a luxury.
It is. Because I know your credit card bill went down. Because when you were just hanging with your friends, y'all were going Dutch. That's the one thing, because I ain't never going to like you dating, because I'm your mama. and I don't think anybody's good enough for you. I'm just going to go on record. That's just me, and I'm going to feel like that. But I will say that I do like when I get your credit card bills and kind of peek at it and see it's gone down significantly, because there's somebody else that's doing the treating. So that is definitely a luxury.
But past that, I feel like past the monetary part, because that's not the reason I'm in a relationship, because I have a job.
Well, no, that's not the reason, but it helps.
But I think past the monetary part, I was talking to Sabrina, my cousin, your niece, today.
Yeah.
And like the reassurance or the support.
Having that support, yeah.
Or like having someone to do things with, having someone that's like your person. That's a luxury.
That's absolutely a luxury.
That I didn't realize was a luxury until I had it, and I also didn't realize was a luxury until I had it and other people close to me didn't have it.
Yeah,
because it makes a difference.
Now, I will say, though, it is a uber luxury when you got a person and they're a dependable, responsible person. Because on the flip side, if you got a person and you always got to wonder what stupidity they're up to next.
Oh, well, then that's just somebody that you should break up with.
You got to always be in the why did you do that mode, then it's aggravating. And some people don't realize that. A lot of people that are in relationships think, okay, if this person leaves, what's going to happen? It's only a luxury if you got a responsible, dependable person that is not jealous of you.
I feel like, too, it's only a luxury if that person for some reason isn't in your life anymore, if you still gonna be able to stand on your own 2 feet.
Yeah.
Because if you're just dependent on them, then that's not necessarily a luxury. That's you using somebody else as a source of money.
Yeah, that's when you're independent.
Need.
But yeah, no, I mean, I've had it both ways. I've had somebody that, they took care of all the finances and I could just do all the other things. And the financial part was definitely helpful, but I will say it was a little bit stressful because, like, why are you doing that? What are you doing? Why? On the other side of it now, I kind of am experiencing the luxury of, I can just do what I want to when I want to. And it's not, I don't have to always think about what the other person needs or what they want or whatever and stuff. So, if you structure your life right, either way you can be happy, but it definitely is a luxury to have that support system, have somebody that you can bounce ideas off of, like all of that. Yeah.
And it's also expensive to be in a relationship. A lot of people don't think it. Well, I should say more so for the guy, it's expensive.
If the guy is taking on a traditional role, because some of these dudes these days feel like they want to do that 50-50 thing, and I don't feel like if you want to, I don't feel like if you want to be eventually or presently the head of a household, you can't go into a relationship with a woman saying 50-50 if you want to be the head of the household, because if we doing 50-50, we equal partners, bruh.
Well, yeah, y'all
we're equal partners. If you want to be like, so it depends on the situation, but yeah, it's nice
because a lot of people be like, oh, you can't afford to be in a relationship if you can't do this, and like when you're young, you're just like, okay, whatever. Like if you in high school, like that ain't gonna necessarily apply to you, but when you get older, it is more like, okay, like you have to afford to be able to go out on dates, you have to afford this, you gotta afford that.
Yeah. And so the other good thing about the relationship is if you got somebody that they can plan, you can get surprised. I think that's I was just surprised. Yeah, I think that's the best thing about relationships is when you got a responsible, dependable person that can just pop up with a surprise.
And when they say, just come to da-da-da, or I'm going to come to that, like you can just be like, okay.
Yeah.
Like it's a luxury that I can turn my brain off when I'm with my man and I don't have to think about anything.
Ladies, gentlemen especially, if you can make a woman feel safe where she can be like, okay, I'm just going to sit back and take this ride and let you do all the thinking, the planning or whatever, that woman's going to love you.
Because I feel like as a retired independent black woman, or I'm still a black woman, but as a retired independent woman, I feel like the greatest gift you can give is that, like, we don't need anything per se, but being able to just turn our brains off and not have to plan everything, not have to do everything for ourselves, and have somebody to lean on is the greatest gift that you can get.
A dependable, and in our case, just this is the way it's been historically, a dependable black man that can let you just relax and just enjoy the ride is a treasure.
And I love being a passenger.
If you can find that's a joy and a treasure that a lot of women will never experience or haven't ever experienced. But if you can find one and he is not driving you crazy, doing crazy, stupid stuff, keep him, because it's rare.
What isn't rare is the craziness that's going on in our country. So let me put y'all on is probably the thing that I keep seeing the most every time I open my social media feed. And that is Project 25, which I feel like a lot of people don't think is a real thing. But it's definitely a real thing.
Now, by the time this episode is up or posted, things could have shifted. So, sometime may transpire, but it's a thing right now.
The let me put y'all on is to be aware that Project 25 exists.
It does.
Think about it what you will, but it definitely is it's a plan to dismantle the government, whether you are in favor of the dismantleization or not.
It's cloaked in conservatism. It's cloaked in like Christianity and family values.
Christianity and all of that.
And I have nothing against that. A lot of people would be surprised, but I'm a Christian person. I am a very traditional person, but I also recognize the separation of church and state, which is what this country was founded on. And Project 2025 goes completely against the separation of church and state. And I would be less concerned if they were just trying to push traditional Christian values, because as a Christian person, like, that wouldn't be hard for me to adjust to. It wouldn't be fair to people that are not Christians. It would not be fair to people that, are not religious at all. But if that was all it was, I wouldn't be as petrified or afraid. But the fact that they are trying to do things like eventually take away contraception from people,
and y'all really got my generation mad
about that. And I'm not a partaker of this, but for some of those people that feel like, well, what does it mean to me? Some just basic things that you are used to being able to do. I think it's funny that a lot of people that are saying, okay, they don't care about it. One of the things I heard that a lot of guys are going to be concerned with, and maybe girls too, I'm not that girl, but some girls too, they're trying to make pornography illegal. I think that's hilarious. And I'm going to, if it were to happen, I would be probably
I don't give a crap.
Like, I wouldn't care, but there's a lot of people that right there is reason enough for them to look it up and try to find out what it's all about.
Find the list of
but there's a lot of things that they are planning on doing that people are going to be shocked by, surprised by, and in some cases harmed by. They're trying to get rid of a lot of the Department of Education. They're trying to get rid of a lot of governmental agencies.
I saw someone post today that apparently the deaf community will be affected because like they're trying to get rid of the ADA or something.
They're trying to get rid of a lot of things that people don't realize they need until they are taken away. And they're trying to make laws and rules and governances that people are not, that you just take for granted. But when those rights, when those abilities are taken away from you, it's going to be shocking. So if nothing else, look it up. We're doing our Taraji P. Henson right now.
Yeah.
Google it. Look up Project 2025. Read through it. Democrat, Republican, Independent, non-voter, voter. Look it up. Look at all the things that they are proposing, because it has something in there that could possibly negatively affect everybody. And then on the flip side of that, because that's kind of a Republican conservative thing. On the flip side of that, everybody's in a tizzy right now. We don't know if our current sitting president is going to run for office again. He says he is, but people are trying to push him out.
I mean, he's currently running for office.
He's currently running for office, but we don't know if he's going
to,
stay in office by the time this episode airs. We might know something different. But regardless of that, Google Project 2025. Pay attention to who is running and who could possibly be running if for some reason, God forbid, President Biden steps aside. Kind of know,
President Biden has had his little slip ups over the last
he's had some stuff, but I love Cousin Robinette.
Love is a strong word.
I love Cousin Robinette. I love him for the simple fact, if nothing else, he saved us from the alternative. And I would vote for him in a coma. I would vote for him in a casket, 3 days dead before I'm serious, before I voted the other way. And not because I think he is the savior of everybody or perfect, but because I know the alternative is dangerous. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, the alternative is dangerous. So
I think we need younger people that are not on the verge of not. Yeah,
we need younger people, but if the alternative is a Hitler-like dictatorship,
no, I just think both of them should step down.
Yeah,
that would be my
ideally
preference.
we need some younger people, but again, I will vote for Joseph Robinette Biden in a coma. Not able to speak, not able to do anything if the only alternative is that other person. Because he's and people might feel like that's hyperbole. I legitimately feel like
the only
he
people
is
that
dangerous.
would feel like that's hyperbolic is people that aren't affected by what Project 2025
and specifically, I think he's dangerous. Well, he's dangerous to anybody that is not a rich white male. And I think he's dangerous to anybody that's not a rich white male that worships him. Because even if you're a rich,
he doesn't
like anybody except himself. He's very Hitler-like, and people are going to say, "Oh, that's an exaggeration. You shouldn't say that." Well, I said it, and I'm gonna stand on it because that's what I'm saying.
I mean, people are calling for him to have 3 terms, which obviously
and he has, and the Supreme Court has recently granted him unlimited right. No, we can't
off of party lines or whatever. Let's not forget about January 6th, everyone.
Let's not forget that he now has a Supreme Court in his pocket that has basically told him if he takes office, and I'm gonna say if, not one, if he takes office, anything he does under the auspices of being the president is not against the law. They basically have said that he is immune from prosecution, immune from the law, as long as whatever he does is under the auspices of being president.
I feel like
we all know that he feels like anything he does is in.
I feel like all of the things that are surrounding Trump in general are very.
Oh, you said his name. Ooh.
Whatever. All of he's not Voldemort.
No.
All of the things that are surrounding him in general are very anti-Republican to me.
He's not a Republican.
It's
that's the thing. He's not a Republican.
There's a clip of him, I think from the 80s, maybe in the 90s, but I think it was from the 80s, where he was like, "Oh, if I run for office, I'm going to run as a Republican because they're stupid and they're just going to believe everything I say." He's not a Republican, as long as I'm a Republican.
And because there are some conservative Republicans that are good, decent people, lots of them. They're not the ones that are supporting him. They're not the ones that are in his cabinet, in his pocket, whatever. And I'm just, in my opinion, feel how you want to feel. If you're Republican, I apologize if you think that's bad to say, but I said it and I meant it. He's not a Republican. He's not a Democrat. He's not an independent. He is all for himself, and he's deranged, and I think a sociopath. And sociopaths will do anything to anybody. So I didn't want to be that specific, but yeah, Project 2025. Look it up, see what it's about. Also look at both the Republican candidate and the Democratic candidate, because it looks like we're kind of down to those two parties most of the time, and kind of have an idea of how you want this country to go, and then take action, whatever you feel that needs to be, that is not harming somebody else and that is not violent, but take political and social actions that are going to move the country ahead and forward instead of backwards, because it looks like we're doing a lot of backsliding. On to something less political.
What had happened was, everybody has a side hustle these days. You see it everywhere. You see it in fiction. You saw Issa Rae going through it with Lawrence and him not wanting to get up off the couch, and you see it with Tabitha Brown in real life, of how her side hustle became her multi-million-dollar industry of celebrity stardom and
everything going
influencer and all of the things that she does.
Yeah, product developer.
But how long can somebody have a side hustle in a relationship before the other person has to be like, go get a job?
I mean, it varies from person to person, situation to situation, but I would say they can do it up until the person that's supporting them needs their assistance financially. Like, as long as somebody's willing to support their side hustle and go along with them, that's fine. But at the point that the person that is supporting you, helping you try to achieve your dream says, okay, I can no longer front you the money for the rent, the bills, or whatever it is that they're doing, then that's the end, because you got to eat, you got to survive, and those who do not work shall not eat.
Realistically, because I feel like a lot of people in my generation have this idea that they're going to be influencers for either whatever their niche is. It could be singing, rapping, writing, dancing, whatever. I feel like everyone thinks that they can be a celebrity because they're seeing how in a way, it's easy to be a celebrity, but it's not easy to be a celebrity, because most of the people that are famous is Nepo babies and people that had connections.
And they might look like overnight successes, and they're not. They've been grinding for a while.
So I feel like we got to stop this delusion a little bit, because there's a lot of people that are holding on to dreams that are unrealistic.
Now, we don't want to be dream killers, but we also don't want people to be delusional. Like, there's a balance.
I don't want to be a dream killer, but I feel like your side hustle should coincide with your real big people job.
Your side hustle has to be exactly that, something you do on the side, but you got to have income. Like, you got to have a job.
There's no way I'm going to be in a relationship and I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to be a full-time influencer, and you have to support me and help me through. No,
not unless
in this
that's
economy.
Not unless that's an agreement that you and the other person
I feel like you shouldn't even ask somebody to make that agreement with you. If the side hustle is not paying the bills, and you need something that pays the bills while you work on a side hustle.
Yeah, and
unless you're willing to be homeless and do the side hustle.
The only alternative is if you choose to pursue your side hustle full time, then you gotta be willing to make whatever sacrifices are necessary. Yeah, like you might have to eat ramen noodles every night. You may have to live somewhere that you don't want to live.
Some people are very passionate about whatever their art is, and they are willing to do that. I like my comfort and my stability when it comes to having a job.
Yeah.
So, of course, I'm going to have my little side interest, I wish I had this much money. I wish I had that. But I'm going to always have my job.
You were raised that you never quit a job unless you have another job.
Yeah. And I'm not going to be supporting somebody that don't have a job. We might
bounce from job to job, but we're bouncing from job to job. Like, we're not bouncing from job to no job. Like, you can't do that unless you got some lottery money, or you know somebody that's gonna bequeath you a whole lot of money in a will. Yeah, you gotta work. And side hustles are great. Like I said, I don't want to be a dream killer, and I feel like sometimes people don't put enough effort into some dreams they have, because there's some really talented people that can sing or can be an artist or whatever.
I feel like there's also
they gotta have balance
to do that.
Yeah.
Don't wait until you 40 and you got kids and you got bills, you got a mortgage, and you got a car payment.
Now, that's my thing. When you got kids, nothing supersedes making sure your kids are provided for. Now, if you want to be the person that pursues a dream or have a side hustle, do it before you have children.
Yeah.
Once you got a child, Your child is your side hustle, and you need to hustle and do whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that they're well taken care of and fed. And I don't mean just because some people think having kids means food and shelter and clothes. Kids need more than just food, shelter, and clothes. They need time. They need attention. Sometimes they need counseling. Sometimes they need. Your kids come before your side hustle. And I would even say your significant other comes before your side hustle if your side hustle
don't let it jeopardize your relationship. Is
causing a good relationship to flounder. Now, if you got a side hustle and it looks like it may become lucrative, or you're right on the verge of your breakthrough, and your significant other's like, I want you to quit that right as you're getting ready to peak, or that's different. I would not advise somebody to give up their dream because of a significant other. But if you've been trying it for a long time and they've been supportive and waiting on it to happen and waiting on it to happen and it doesn't, sometimes you gotta let it go. What's kind of meant
to be, like in the case of Tabitha Brown, she was just making videos in her free time and then it blew up. She wasn't...
Right. Tab was driving Uber.
Yeah, like she wasn't just sitting around on the couch hoping something was going to happen.
Right. And I didn't know until later on that she had tried acting. Like she wanted to be, and really, like, acting didn't end up being her call. Like, she does, minor roles or whatever, but she's a influencer and a motivational speaker more so than an actor. She has her, like, kid shows, I think, on one of the...
Yeah, she has kid shows. She has her.
But here's the thing, though. She had enough sense to know, for instance, her hair care brand. She was always talking about her hair, calling it Donna. People start asking about her hair. She knew how to take advantage of a moment. When she saw, she's cooking all the time and referring to her utensils. Okay, other people want this. So she learned to go with the flow in terms of where her side hustle was leading her. Where people already were wanting her in those spaces. She wasn't trying to force herself into, even down to her accent. She's like, her Southern accent. Some people told her she should lose it. She chose to go into the places and spaces where she was already a natural fit and where she had the talent and the abilities to do. So, like, sometimes you have to let what you already are good at lead you versus trying to force yourself into a situation that's not right for you. But side hustles are good until they start costing you financially or mentally or emotionally.
And it's really only a hustle if you're getting that money on. If you're not getting the money, then it's not a hustle, it's a hobby.
It's a hobby. Got to know the difference between a hustle and a hobby.
So don't confuse the two things.
Yeah.
But anyways, Ask a Gemini time. So I developed this question based on a conversation that we had the other day. So the question is, what is an unserious generational curse that you're breaking or that you broke? I have a whole list.
I bet you do. Well, one of them is not staying in a job that you're unhappy with because it's a good job. Like, it's a good job. Like, you got a government job. You got a good job. Like, that job. Yeah. So, I mean, and I haven't been irresponsible at all. But, like, when I had a job and working in an office and I was bored to tears, I looked up one day and was like, this is so boring to me. I want to do something else. And then I bounced into education, even though I didn't go to school for education. And then when that was actually went on that 17-year maternity leave to homeschool you. But then it was like, okay, I don't want to go back into education. But again, taking my own advice, it's like, but I can do that. So like I went back into education, but also continued to look for other things. I have worked as a technical writer. I have worked as a accounts receivable collector. I worked as a telemarketing sales rep. I worked in, marketing communication. I'm not one of those people that was on the same job for 30 years and then retire. And as long as you go from job to job, lucrative job to another lucrative job, I'm not saying quit jobs all willy-nilly, but don't get stuck somewhere where you're not happy just because it's a good job. And my parents, not to say they didn't like their jobs, but like both of them went to companies and stayed 30 years and just stayed there, never explored anything else. So that's kind of one of those things that I think all of us
I feel like that's a very monotonous way to live. Yeah. Like, even if it's with the same company, like you should explore other
departments, So like sticking with the same job from, right out of college or right out of school,
or even like sticking with the same routine. I feel like, at least in our family, we all tend to be people that we like our routine and we do not deviate from our routine for anything.
And we're responsible, dependable people. Like I said, my parents 30 plus years on both their jobs and then retired.
But I feel like, sometimes I'm breaking out of I find myself purposefully being like, I do this exact thing every day at the same time. Let me not do that today.
Yeah.
Because now I feel like there's something wrong with me because I can't break from my routine.
Yeah.
But my list is,
oh my goodness,
having McDonald's money. I'm going to get if I'm at work and I'm on my lunch break and I want sushi, I'm going to get sushi. I work hard. I'm going to get some sushi. Yeah. I feel like growing up in ethnic households and black households,
we got food home.
We got food home. Bring lunch. I will spend my money on food all day. I will look at a shirt and be like, $15 for a shirt. I don't know. $15 for a little thing of sushi? Sign me up. I don't care if I'm craving it. I want it.
Greedy, so food.
So my kids, when I have kids, we gonna always have McDonald's. You want? But
I think that curse got broke even with mine, because when we were growing up, McDonald's was a treat, and eating out was a treat.
I feel like when I was younger, it was still somewhat of a treat, but then as I got older, y'all was just like it's. I feel like as grocery prices rose, it was just like it's all the same anyway.
Whatever, yeah, and plus too, some of it was just time wise. I ain't got time to cook. Like, let's run through this drive-through or let's go.
I feel like it's more convenient, and there's a lot of reasons why that has changed. But another thing is prioritizing self-care. If I want to get my nails done, I'm going to get my nails done. If I want to get my hair done, I'm going to get my hair done. If I want to spend 10 hours doing my hair, I'm going to spend the 10 hours doing my hair. Or even if I feel like I'm not being productive and I just wasted the whole day with my friends, or I wasted the whole day with my boyfriend. Oh well, I don't care.
See, when you have kids, you're not gonna have the luxury of being that way. I now allow myself that luxury. When I was younger, still working, trying to build a life, I didn't allow myself that. When you came along, I didn't allow myself that because I didn't have time for that. Like, I had to always be taking care of house, taking care of this, taking care of that, taking care of you. I'm just now reaching that stage where because, honey, now I loves me a pedicure. Yeah, and after the facial that you got me for my birthday, I will be getting regular facials. I will be getting regular massages. Yes.
I feel like as Black women, we're always so future focused, and we're climbing the ladder and
making sure we don't spend money that you might need later. I have made up my mind. What I would be more disappointed in than, okay, I spent money and now I need it for something else, is to work all my life to leave my money for somebody else to go get the stuff that I denied myself. So I agree with that. Or even like
using vacation days or something. I used to be like, I don't want to use a vacation. And now I'm just like, if my bosses are on vacation, why am I not using my vacation time?
What everybody needs to know about that is the day after you die, your job is going in the paper or on the internet. Somebody else. I regret, while they like you, you're not irreplaceable to them, so you better live your life.
Well, I regret sitting at my desk all day, or will I regret not being able to go and do something super fun that I've always wanted to do, or just having a relaxing day or whatever. Just taking the guilt out of not being a hard worker, overworking yourself. I feel like that's a generational curse.
Okay, let me throw one in on my side that kind of piggybacks off of that. I'm breaking the generational curse, God bless my mama and all her siblings and people of not making other people's problem my problem.
Oh, I've never do that.
I'm not going to sit around and worry about so-and-so and do you know so-and-so? No, ma'am. I will listen. I'll be a listening ear. If there's something that I can actually do, then sign me up. I'll do it. But I have learned that there's a circle of concern. That this is in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, I think it is. I have learned there's a circle of concern and there's a circle of influence. Circle of concern is huge. Circle of influence is small. The things I can do, I will do, and everything else, I'm just gonna throw it in the trash can of my memories and go to sleep.
I feel like the generational curse too is allowing people to tell you about problems without giving a real reaction. Like the I'm here for you. You got. No, I'm giving you the real reaction. Because and I will give you one time. I'll give you the one time passive. Okay, this is a new thing that's happening to you. My nice reaction. Now, if we get to time number 2, it's the exact same thing. I'm giving it to you straight. And my friends know that about me. Like if you asking for me for advice or you telling me a story, they already know I'm gonna have something to say about it. Because it's just like if you know I had something to say about it, you know there was something to be said.
But that's a life skill that you have to develop. Like you said, if somebody comes to you with a problem and you offer suggestions or a solution, and then you got to also, even with that, you got to know when somebody just wants comforting versus they want help. That's something that I've developed later in life. Sometimes people just want to vent. They're not trying to change anything. They just need to get it off their chest. Learn to ask that up front. Okay, do you want me to just listen?
Yeah,
or are you looking for solutions? Get that straight up front. Now, if you come to me for advice, suggestions, help one time, and I offer my advice, suggestions, or help, and you don't take it, but then you come back, like you said, with the same thing, I got nothing for you, baby.
No more
I got nothing for you, baby, other than, that's all you're going to get from me. Because no, we're not doing that.
And then my last generational curse thing was not doing things. Oh, wait, how do I phrase this properly? Making sure I'm not doing things just to please my elders, or not doing things to please my elders, if that makes sense.
Not worrying about disappointing your elders.
Yes,
that's what you're trying to say. See, precision of language is my specialty.
Because I feel like a lot of youth, and I feel like this is specifically like people of color. I can't speak for non-people of color because I don't know their life experiences as well. But I feel like for people of color, and I hear this amongst my friends, everything we do is like, ooh, our parents would say, or our grandparents would like, or our parents would do.
Hold on, Missy. Sometimes.
I'm not really worried about it.
Sometimes it could be too much, but again, just like with everything else we've talked about, balance.
I think there's a balance. You should take advice and you should learn from their mistakes, but at the same time, your life is not theirs.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people forget that. And they're just like, ooh, what will so-and-so do?
Yeah, I would never recommend, even for you, living your life solely based on what's going to make somebody else happy. Never do that.
And that also applies to significant others, friends,
yeah, like never do that. But I will say, though, to any young people that are listening, most of the time, if it's somebody that genuinely cares about you, they're giving you advice to try to prevent you from experiencing some hurt or some bad thing that they've experienced most of the time, if they really care about you. So you kind of have to.
But at the same time, that can also be negative because they have a biased skewed view of whatever that is.
I tell people all the time, if you're somebody that I respect, I'll listen to all of your advice, but I'm only going to take some of it. And that's the way you have to kind of live your life. I will listen to all of the advice of somebody I respect or admire. I'm probably only going to take some of it depending on how it fits into my life. And, that's what I recommend. I tell you, and I don't always stick to it, but a lot of times when you come to me with, I want to do, or I think this, I'll tell you, this is what I think, and this is what I hope you do. But because I don't know who raised you, you got a lot of attitude. And I respect it in a certain kind of way. It makes me want to strangle you, but I respect that you will a lot of times look at me and say, well, I heard your advice. I'm not necessarily going to take it.
One thing I can't stand is people that lie. So I tell you straight up, if you ask me something, I'm gonna tell you.
Y'all have no idea some of the stuff, but I have respect for the fact that I will give you advice, and a lot of times you look at me and say,
"I'm not one of them."
I will listen to your advice. I'm not necessarily going to take it. I'm not one of them
kids that's going to be sneaking and geeking. I'm not one of them kids that's going to be trying to get away with it. No, especially now as a kid. Even as a kid, I didn't do anything.
Well, as a kid, there was not a whole lot.
But as an adult, I'm not going to be hiding parts of my life.
Now, the other side of that, y'all, is I let her know there are certain things that once I tell you how I feel and you decide to go the other way, when you go the other way, you going the other way.
Now, I might get yelled at.
You going the other way and you going to have to deal with the consequences because I'm not going to deal with the consequences. But I recommend that everybody live their best life, be as honest as you can.
Yeah.
But never have your entire life based on somebody else's
For the
happiness.
young people that may be listening, I'm not saying go out and do something stupid in the name of don't respect your elders. I'm just
don't
saying,
YOLO everything.
I'm just saying that sometimes your standards and their standards not going to align. Your thoughts, their thoughts not going to align. Two different generations, two different thought processes, two different life experiences. There's a whole lot of different factors. But don't be stupid. We're not saying be stupid.
Don't be dumb.
But also make sure you have your autonomy and make sure you're a person that's separate from whoever your elders are. You're not a carbon copy of them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a generational curse that I think my parents broke. My parents were very open-minded, which is why you turned out the way you are, I guess. In that they never had the attitude of, I'm an adult and therefore I'm always right. They never acted that way.
I feel like y'all have never said, because I said so.
Like
it's always, I think this
is why. Yeah, and this is why. But my parents never conducted our household or, ran our household. We're the adults. We're always right. They were always open to listening to what we had to say. Now, they were going to make the final decision, but they were always open to listening to what we might have as a counter and then making that decision based on everybody's thought processes, which a lot of people thought I was disrespectful growing up. I know they did, but I don't care because my parents taught me to have my own mind and to in a respectful way. If authority needed to be challenged,
have always allowed us as kids in the family to like debate things and not necessarily a disrespectful argument.
Yeah, like you got to be respectful.
But like just like how on TikTok y'all will see the kids making a PowerPoint of, oh, this is why I want to be able to do da 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 da. Like it was that, but it was minus the PowerPoint.
You had to come with some receipts. You had to come with some things.
I will credit y'all too for y'all always will compromise. Even if we don't agree, there will be some kind compromise of oh, you feel like this, I feel like this.
Keeping in mind
this is this.
When y'all were of a certain age, there was none of that.
But
when we realized that, it has to be an age appropriate process because as y'all got older, had more experience, more knowledge. Okay, so you know more things, you can come with more things. When you little, you just got to do what somebody tells you to do, unless there's some extenuating circumstances. But I think it is a generational curse to just let the older people always make all the decisions and have the final say, because sometimes they are not as informed.
And
as
a lot of times, I've seen this too with my friends who have parents that aren't from the U.S. Their thoughts are different because American culture is so different than other cultures, and their families are having to figure out like, is this normal or are they doing too much? Like, so it's a little bit complicated.
There's no perfect way to parent. There's no perfect way to run a family. But I think as long as everybody has mutual respect, make informed decisions.
Anyways, on to Gemini Gems. Would you like to begin?
Okay, so gas prices right now, y'all, are very, very high. So I don't know, a lot of people don't know this. Gas literally is a gas. So when it's hot, it heats up, it becomes kind of like vapors in a certain kind of way. So when you're buying your gas, there are better times to fill up early in the morning, late at night, on cooler days instead of warmer days. Because if you fill up your car when it's the heat of the day, like when it's the middle of the day, you're going to get more vapor than solid, and you're not going to get as much gas in your actual tank. It'll be, I don't even know how to describe it scientifically, but you'll get more gaseous air in your tank versus actual fuel. So get your gas when it's cooler in the morning and at night. And then I also read today, Mondays and Tuesdays. I don't know why that is, but I just kind of Googled and they said Mondays and Tuesdays are good days to get gas. And I will tell you, as you get closer to the weekend, gas prices are likely to go up because they feel like people are going to be doing leisure travel. So that may be why they say Mondays and Tuesdays. But get your gas when it's the coolest part of the day so that you can actually get more fuel in your tank versus the vapors that will be created when it's hot.
So for mine, as y'all all know, I'm always prepared to eat. So I will have utensils in my car. I feel like most people will have the Chipotle napkins, maybe a fork, maybe
plastic
a spoon,
fork, some straws, whatever.
But I feel like it's also good to just have like a cup of some kind in your car because you never know when you want to run through and get like a big gulp or a Slurpee or whatever and it's just too big, because a lot of the times I don't want all of that. Yeah. And you might want to split it with somebody else and then you already just have an extra cup in your car. Or if you like stop at a park, want to fill up your water bottle, whatever the case may be, stay hydrated, stay cool.
While it's hot, you definitely need to stay hydrated.
So having a cup,
cup with the lid.
Yeah, a cup with the lid.
Keep water bottle.
And I also put straws in my car.
Yeah. So anyway, that way you can share. When you go to the gas station early in the morning, late at night to fill up your tank and get a big gulp, then you can split it with.
Yeah, because y'all do not need to be drinking that extra large 79-cent soda all by yourself.
Yeah.
But with that being said, that's all we have for y'all today. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Period.